Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode here on the channel. Today we will decide the champion here in the Xfinity Series between myself, Chase Briscoe, my teammate of Harrison Burton, and Noah Gragson. So it's going to come down to the wire, I think, at a track that I've struggled at so much in my NASCAR Heat career here on YouTube. So it's going to be a tough one to win this championship. We did it in the Truck Series last season, so I'm still confident. We come into this race, 8 wins on the season, a record for a rookie. So we've had an incredible rookie season here. As you see the stats on the screen, Chase Briscoe comes into this race, 4 wins on the season. He was one of the drivers with myself to point their way into the Final Four. Gragson and Burton were the 2 drivers to win their way into this race here in Miami to fight, or in Phoenix to fight for a championship. Burton also had 4 wins like Chase Briscoe did, and Gragson comes into here with 2 wins, most recently at Martinsville, which we almost took away from him actually there, if we could have been maybe a little bit more aggressive on those final few laps. But now it is time to get ready to decide a champion here in Phoenix Raceway, where we come through into qualifying. Obviously only 1 lap here in single car qualifying. Like I said, I've always struggled at this track here. I actually just used a preset setup here for qualifying. I was on the loose preset. I think it was like 3 clicks or 4 clicks to the right or something like that. It was 1 away from being the furthest to the right, which would be 1 away from being furthest loose. Now as we came through though through turns 3 and out of turns 4 here in qualifying, the goal was a 26.488. We crossed the line with a 26.837. Not very good. P16 is where I was. I was not happy with that, not impressed. So I decided that we were going to have to go in to the setup and change some things, because we got beat by all 3 competitors in the Final Four. Briscoe and Gragson 2nd and 3rd, and Burton around that top 10 spot. So I made some adjustments here with the camber and the track bar, as well with the left bump, all the bumps and rebounds, as well as the wedge. So those were the only things I touched. I left everything else what it was, and I was just hoping that that would do the trick here to get us running a lot more competitively, because based off the qualifying pace and just off how the car felt, we usually run better than where we qualify, but I could tell by how the car felt that we did not have a championship winning car in the qualifying there. So I made some big adjustments there, and I was very hopeful that it was going to pay off as we get ready to go green here for the championship race in Phoenix Raceway. Now as we are about to go green and the green flag is out and we are underway from P15. We did move up 1 spot to a driver being sent to the back now, as we are under the 89 there of Landon Castle. But right now it is Gragson and Briscoe who are the 2 drivers that lead this Final Four. Joe Gibbs Racing comes into this with 2 drivers, myself and Harrison Burton. So JGR has about a 50% chance right now mathematically to win this championship, and hopefully we are going to be the one that brings it home now. Obviously just recently we got confirmed to be driving the 20 car next season in the Cup Series for Joe Gibbs Racing. Eric Jones will be moved around. You will be hearing those plans for Eric Jones in the next episode, which will be the Daytona 500 and whatnot, and I'm definitely going to be putting a lot into that episode now, as I can't wait for you guys to see it, and I can't wait to record it first of all now as we come through out of turns 2 though, up the inside here as we dive down towards turn 3. So we were going to get up into that 12th position here on lap 2. Noah Gragson though was in 2nd, putting the pressure on the leader of Brandon Brown, who qualified on pole now as we came through out of turns 2 side by side here. I believe that was Josh Balicki on my outside as we dive down into turns 3 on the inside of him, and then one of those cars sends it up the inside there and drives into the left rear of me. We somehow keep it straight. Everybody keeps going, and thankfully we would get clear and hold on to P11 with 7 laps to go here in stage 1. I did bump the race length up to 25%, which we'll be doing in all Cup races next season. Now as we came through though a few laps later, I was slowly but surely running down the next group of cars. Chastain there in P10. Brandon Brown though, he qualified on pole like I said, and he was driving away, but unfortunately Gragson was following him. He was right there with Brandon Brown, which was a big concern for myself, because I knew I did not have the speed that Noah Gragson had at this point. So it looks like Gragson early on the favorite to win the championship after winning his way into this race after that win at Martinsville. Now as this was the final lap here in stage 1 as I dive down into turns 3 and turns 4. So unfortunately we're going to be the only Final Four driver not in the top 10 here after stage 1 as we cross the line to get P11 in stage 1. So definitely a lot of work to do. We will have to make a pit stop in this race, but it will not come right now. I thought about actually maybe potentially pitting right here and just maybe make adjustments on the car, but I did not want to play catch up through this whole second stage because I honestly didn't think I'd be able to work my way back up to 11th within the time frame that we would have here in this second stage. So I stay out. We get lined up actually behind a Final Four competitor of Chase Briscoe. He had fallen down quite a bit in stage one. Harrison Burton, our teammate, had moved up a little bit now as the second stage is underway here in Phoenix Raceway. Obviously, if you're in the Final Four, stage points do not matter at all. So all we got to do is just worry about that third and final stage. But of course, I'm doing everything I can to set myself up well for that third and final stage. Noah Gragson has flexed hard with his speed so far in this race. Now as we're going to get aggressive here, going down the back straightaway, 3 wide with the Final Four competitor of Briscoe, and then Daniel Hamrick there as we get clear, or Hamrick gets clear and makes it 2 wide between myself and Chase Briscoe as we come through out of turns 4 side by side with him as we cut that dog leg. We're going to be cutting the dog leg a lot in this episode here as we dive down into turns 1, and sure enough, now as we send it into the corner, Briscoe's actually going to be able to hang on my right hand side, but we clear him on the exit of the corner. Briscoe looking to be probably the slowest right now of the Final Four because he had no fight for me, surprisingly. Now as it's Hamrick and Alfredo side by side as we dive down into turns 3. Right now it's between Gregson and Burton for that front spot of the Final Four as we sent it up the inside of Alfredo now on lap 3 of the stage, but it was now Harrison Burton who had been leading the Final Four. He was 1 spot ahead of Noah Gragson as Brandon Brown was leading the way at this point. Austin Cindric up there in the mix. Cindric still winless this season, even though he's been so consistent now as he runs P2 just in front of Justin Allgaier. Our teammate Harrison Burton running P4 right now as we came through a little bit later in the second stage, still cutting down on the dog leg. 5 laps to go at this point here in the stage, and sure enough, Brandon Brown, was continuing to lead the way here in the final few laps of the second stage as we dive down through on cutting the dog leg now as we started the final lap here in stage 2. Unfortunately, I had nothing after we got into P8. You see, Hamrick was actually able to stay about the same gap ahead of me, so I was very concerned at this point because I could not get anywhere near Gregson or Harrison Burton. But Gregson had the speed in stage 1, but now it's Harrison Burton who has the speed at the end of stage 2 as we come through out of turns 4. It is going to be P8 in stage 2, now knowing that we're not looking very good at all going into that third and final stage here, and it looks like we are not even going to have a chance at winning the championship at this point. So I saw, obviously, everyone had to pit. So this is our last chance this season to make adjustments on this car. So I decided to put some grill tape on the car. I think I even touched the wedge. I also touched the tire pressures, adjust those a bit, and just get ready for the third and final stage there now, as this will be the final pit stop of the season, and we get a little bit lucky here. We gain 2 spots on the pit lane, get up to P6, and it's going to be the Final 4 lined up here on the outside. Burton, Gregson, and myself, 2nd, 4th, 6th now as the green flag is out, and the third and final stage is underway. We're going to have to get aggressive here. If we want to win this championship, we're going to ignite to the outside here on the outside of Noah Gregson. Now we're going to send it up the inside of our teammate of Burton. He's sideways after contact on his left rear. He keeps it straight now as we come through turns 1 and out of turns 2. Cindric to the front now with Allgaier. Burton side by side for that second position as we dive down into turn 3. Hamrick up my inside. I'm looking for an opportunity to get to the inside as quickly as I can because I know Burton being on the outside, he's going to go backwards. So if I can get down to the inside and get ahead of him there as I chop the nose of Clements, we do get down to the inside now as we try to get up the inside of Hamrick, but I had nothing for Hamrick on the entrance of the corner. The car felt very tight here on this opening few laps now, but Hamrick, he would get clear of Harrison Burton, and then I would try to send it up now the inside of my teammate of Harrison Burton. Knowing how fast that 20 car is, I knew I had to make my move as soon as possible. 23 laps to go here in Phoenix. Now as we dive down towards the turns 1, I unfortunately had nothing for Burton. He started to drive away now as we come to just 20 laps to go here in Phoenix. About maybe 4 to 5 car lengths between himself and I, but behind us Ryan Sieg goes crashing after blowing up now, and the caution is going to come out here with 20 laps to go. I had a hunch that we would get a caution here in stage 3, but I didn't think it was going to be so early. So now I was wondering, are we going to run green right to the end of this race? Who knows? It's myself and Harrison Burton on row number 3 for the championship lead. Behind us, we got Chase Briscoe back in the mix. He kind of fell out of the picture now, so we're going to get aggressive again. 3 wide in the middle between Burton and Hamrick, and we're even going to send it up the inside of Allgaier into turns 1 now, as we're still 3 wide in the middle as we come through the center of the corner. Now out of turns 2, Burton on my inside, Allgaier on my outside. We're making contact with both of them as we are doing everything we can to get that championship lead now, as I unfortunately have to settle in behind Harrison Burton there, diving down through turns 3 and out of turns 4 up the inside of Allgaier. I did not want a car between myself and Harrison Burton. I know Harrison Burton has the faster car as I make contact with Allgaier as we dive down into turns 1. He's going to go sliding up the inside of Burton. An incredible save by Justin Allgaier as we come through out of turns 2. He would barely miss that final 4 and probably would have pointed his way in if it wasn't for Burton and Gregson winning their way in. Now as we come through, trying my best to stick with Allgaier. He was faster than the drivers in front of them, or Burton, sorry, was faster than the drivers in front of him, and I was even faster than those drivers. So that would allow me to get back to Harrison Burton with 13 laps to go, and now I put the pressure on him. I know, like I just said, Burton has the faster car, but I was just hoping I could get him in a position where I can just physically just move him or get myself past him and just try to hold him off for the final few laps. Now as we dive down into turn 3 side by side with Burton as I lunge in through turns 3 and turns 4, doing everything I can to make sure he doesn't get clear, because I knew if he would get clear, he would drive away right up to the point where he would run down those cars in front of us again. Now as we come through out of turns 4, unfortunately, he did get clear. I had nothing for him there as I gave it everything. I threw everything at him, and he still held me off. Now I could have been a lot more physical now as we went down into turns 1 at this point on lap 43, 10 laps to go. Austin Cindric looking for win number 1 on the season as he leads the way down the back straightaway. Burton would run down Allgaier in front of him, and I knew that was my chance to actually run him back down again. Now with less than 10 laps to go, we come through to cross the line, cutting that dog leg like we do pretty much every lap in this race. 8 laps to go, and we were continuing to once again close in on the back of Burton now, about a car length between himself and I at this point. We come through now on lap 47 through turns 3, up the inside of Burton again as we exit turns 4. We're back into a position to attack here as we're now 5 laps to go in the season. We have the championship lead by half a car length as we dive down into turns 1 here, but Burton just continues to just defend against myself so well on that second lane as we're side by side down the back straightaway running for P4. And it looks like whoever wins the championship is not going to win the race at this point now. Are we even going to get a caution? There's still a chance of a caution coming out and forcing an overtime restart. Contact was made there with Burton as we go down the front straightaway. 4 laps to go here in Phoenix as we dive down into turns 1 side by side. The 2 JGR drivers battling it out for the championship. We slide up the track, contact with Burton, and out of turns 2. He is almost clear, but we get right on his left rear and do everything I can to make sure he does not get in front of us as we dive down into turn 3. We know he will drive away if he gets clear, and look at that gap we would have to make up if he does do it, and sure enough, he gets clear on the exit of turns 4. And I knew right there that was my last chance as we dive down towards turns 1. We're going to give him the bumper knowing what's at stake. And there I see it. The championship gone. Now as Burton is going to drive away for sure at this point here in Miami. Now I have to accept that it's going to be second place here in the championship. I'm doing everything I can, hoping Harrison was going to get stuck behind Allgaier, but only 2 laps to go at this point here in Phoenix. It's been an incredible season. 8 wins we have got. Burton 4, trying to make it 5. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Austin Cindric is about to get win number 1 on the season. Burton has run down Allgaier, so we might have a slim chance to maybe get something going here as we come through turn 3 and out of turns 4 down the front stretch now as we're going to cut the dog leg as hard as we can, but there's a car up ahead now as Cindric is able to avoid him. He's slowing up, and everyone's slowing up as we dive down towards turns 1 on the final lap here in the championship race. Big contact. We're up the inside of Burton. Contact with the 7 sideways. He saves it. All of a sudden, we're in the championship lead here down the back straightaway on the final lap in Phoenix Raceway. A car blowing up completely changes everything. Cindric wins. We come through out of turns 4. We're going to steal the championship on the final lap in Phoenix Raceway. Unbelievable way to win our championship here in the Xfinity Series. With 2 laps to go, I realized it was not going to happen, and then that happened. That final lap was unbelievable here in Phoenix Raceway. I cannot believe what just happened. I was like, the game, I don't get too nervous or whatnot playing video games, but that one like legitimately got me shaking there on that final lap. It was insane. I cannot, still just recording the commentary of this video, I cannot believe we had that happen. And that's what I love about the NASCAR Heat games. Unpredictable right down to the last lap of the season, and that, I don't even know who that lap car was. I didn't even pay attention, but that lap car won us the championship. He got in the way. I obviously full sent. I just drove through Justin Allgaier essentially to win that championship. Now, I cannot believe Harrison Burton had the championship in his hands, and we stole it there. And that will do it for the Xfinity Series season. We will be running the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series part-time next season in the career mode, but obviously we're going to be full-time in the 20 car in the Cup Series. So I'm going to show you guys the cars we're going to be running in the Xfinity Series next season, as well as the truck. We're going to be running the 51 truck again. I can confirm that, but I'll show the Xfinity car because we're going to run in a custom Xfinity Series car for Joe Gibbs Racing next season. But there you see the stats on the screen, and I'm so excited to start our Cup Series career in the next episode. You see at the very bottom is the total stuff, the total stats. So we had 8 wins, obviously, in our rookie Xfinity season, and what an incredible season it was to cap it off with a championship that really shouldn't have been ours there coming down to the final lap. Unbelievable. I'd like to thank you all, though, for sticking around for so long. In the next one, we're going to be doing the Daytona 500, and it is going to be a special episode, I think. I'm going to put a lot into it, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a great day, everybody.